This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio is the king of college football talk, and we appreciate his time on these Wednesdays, right around the same time as usual. Bill, how you doing today?
Hey, guys. What's up?
Well, we got a raise for Josh Heupel. His salary's up. $4 million raise, up to $9 million a year. Ties him with Lane Kiffin with the fifth highest salary for next season. I guess you just sort of expected this was going to happen. It was a raise that came after Shane Beamer got his raise. Thoughts on Josh Heupel and lasting power there at Tennessee?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to pay him. You got to pay him. He's been mentioned for jobs. Now, some of that might be just floated out there, but you got to get him up to the number. And not only that, but the future looks bright. This kid they're bringing in, this Nico Iamaleava, is, I'm telling you, a better prospect, maybe significantly, than Hendon Hooker.
No kidding. No, you just got to get him to...
He's Matt Jones' height. He's 6'6". Now, he's about 190. He looks like he weighs 150. So that's a problem. But this kid is spectacular.
They'll
once
get him,
he gets going.
Yeah, they'll get him in the mess hall, and he'll be eating a little bit. I'm a Josh Heupel fan. Do you think it's that they could have kept him without giving him this money this year?
Oh, this year they could have, but probably not.
Just show some good faith. Like Heupel's probably here for the long haul. He's going to be here the next 5-6 years.
I would think so. You know, he quarterbacked Oklahoma, and then he was on that staff for a while. But
he was right
fired.
before. Yeah, I remember him. He was right when I was about coming out. He was just finishing up at Oklahoma, so I remember back when he was playing. Yeah.
So if things did not work out for, that current staff there, Coach Venables, et cetera, I don't know that he'd go back. Now it was Stoops that fired him. Different folks there, but I don't know that he would go back. But hey, if he continues to be successful the way they play offense, who knows?
There was other news involving coordinators in the SEC. Alabama right now does not have an offensive or defensive coordinator, but still have the top incoming class, which, I guess makes sense because it's Alabama. Bill O'Brien no longer there. I know the fan base really kind of, had it out for him and for Golding this last year. What did you think of Bill O'Brien as an offensive coordinator over his tenure at Alabama? And do you think he's better suited for the pro game than he is for college?
Oh, probably. I think that would also probably be his preference. He did a solid job, man. And look, what Alabama ran into this year is the offensive line, last 2 years, actually. Offensive line's not been as good as they're used to it being. They're not special at running back. Now, the Jahmyr Gibbs kid was a good addition, but he wasn't physical. And an Alabama back needs to be physical, too. It's okay if you've got all that speed like he had, and he showed it, but you also need to be physical, and that's not what he did well. So there was a step back there. There was an obvious, monstrous step back at wide receiver. And I think he'd done his time there, probably looking to get back. And here's the thing about Nick. Nick will not rush. We could get into February before they do anything. I mean, they may now announce something next week, but he's not going to rush it. He doesn't need to rush it because it's his program. People are going there because of him, and whatever he does at coordinator, as far as recruiting is involved, won't matter.
Let me look at recruiting here for a moment involving Colorado. I know they've got this great transfer class coming in. What about how they've recruited high schools? Or is Colorado right now basically just a transfer portal destination for Deion? I know that he can recruit the high schools in the future, but for this next year, this is mostly a transfer portal team?
It's probably based on that mostly. They were 1-11. They're god-awful, right? And it's going to take a lot. They just flipped a kid in recruiting from Miami, a big-name player. But, yeah, I think the patchwork initially is going to be done through the portal, and then he'll be recruiting. Now, look, he'll try and go head-to-head with anybody out there, any city, any state. I don't know what kind of money their collective has had historically, and we only have, a little over a year, 2 years of sampling on this, but I don't think that collective is where it needs to be to compete with the big boys yet.
Have you seen his boy play quarterback? Do you think he can get it done? I haven't watched him play. That's what I'm asking. Do you think he can play at a Power 5 school?
I think so. I don't know. Now, taking it to another level, is he some kind of prospect? I think that's unclear.
Yeah.
Because of the competition they're playing. I mean, they let him chuck it all over the place. Obviously, they're going to be quarterback-centric with him. But I don't think we know yet what kind of prospect he is. I would be, let me say, at the moment, I would be skeptical there.
So you're saying it might be unfair to call him one of the top 10 quarterbacks in college football right now? Because I've seen him on some of those lists. It's like, well,
he's a coach's son, so he's going to understand it a little bit. I think. I just wonder if his talent, does he go to the Manning passing camp? Does he work there? Like, is he considered one of the elites? I just haven't seen him play.
I don't think we're there yet with him. Now, it depends on how you ask. If you had Dion on right now, I'm sure you get a 180-degree different.
That's like asking LeBron about his baby boy, too. He's like, Bronny can go play anywhere. Yeah.
That's true.
Hey, what happened? I mean, not necessarily what happened. I mean, Georgia has brought in a couple of big-time wide receivers out of the portal. They got Dominic Lovett from Mizzou, and then Ra Thomas transfers from Mississippi State, where he was the leading receiver. I think he went into the portal. I think that was before Leach passed away, and
Correct.
now he's been charged a felony for essentially false imprisonment. What I read was that he, allegedly kept somebody inside a locked dorm room. So, I mean, it's been an interesting few weeks here for Georgia since the championship. You know, he had the tragic death of one of their players and the young lady that was part of the recruiting staff, and now this too. So, they haven't necessarily just been able to bask in the glory of a second national title.
Yeah, Ra Thomas was arrested early Monday morning, bonded out after lunch at some point, maybe 2 o'clock-ish on Monday. And here's what I guess is going on. Georgia's probably vetting this just to make sure the police report is accurate, getting, various angles on the story, and then I would assume they'll let him go.
Is Georgia keeping both their coordinators? I saw somewhere where maybe their OC was getting a little mention for some of these NFL jobs. Do you think they retain both coordinators this year?
Yes. Now, here's the caveat. Monken, who is making $2+ million as the offensive coordinator, is very attractive. I don't know if this is the go-around. I'd be shocked if he's there after this next year. He's going to get a lot of overtures, and he's got NFL background history, too. So there's not a limitation with him.
He was a coach when I was at Jacksonville. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then Coach Schumann is a young, hotshot co-defensive coordinator with Will Muschamp. He's only 32 years of age. There's some talk about him with Alabama, along with the Jeremy Pruitt and Todd Grantham and names like that. But that kid, if we're going to call him 32 years old, in that world he is a kid, is a phenomenal young defensive talent that's not going to be there long either. I think they last this year, but that's probably it.
You think Pruitt's a real candidate? What's he been doing since Tennessee blew up?
Podcast with people like Mike Griffith, and he also plays. Did we talk about this? He plays competitive poker. He travels, and I don't know how often he does it. Yeah, and they say he's actually pretty good, but I think he's just living the life right now, waiting for him to be less radioactive. I tell you what. Let me give you the Jeremy Pruitt Alabama situation. One day I'm hearing that it's close. It's all but done. It's been cleared. Everybody's good. And the next day I hear back off a little bit. Not sure. That thing goes hot and cold, literally, guys, every day. The bottom line, as far as I'm concerned, if they hire him, I'm not going to be shocked. If they hired him but they don't really label him as a coordinator, I wouldn't be shocked either. But that one hasn't died yet.
Is there anyone on the offensive side for a coordinator for Alabama that sticks out to you right now as a possible candidate? And you think Saban's I mean, the going thought was neither of the coordinators was going to stick around and they would just get an opportunity to go find a job somewhere else. And that's what happened. Golding goes to Ole Miss. O'Brien's, back in the NFL working for Belichick now at New England. So there's been plenty of time for Saban to zero in on who he wants on both sides here. Who do you think could be a candidate on the offensive coordinator position for them?
Here's some names that are being thrown out, and I've talked to people too. Jeff Lebby, now at Oklahoma, year one there. He was at Ole Miss before. He's got a Josh Heupel background too. He's in there. Joe Brady, wonder kid in 2019 at LSU, now with the Bills. Don't know that he'd come back to college, but his name's being mentioned. Another Coach Tierney, who is in the NFL, who was an analyst at Alabama about 5 years ago. Very young guy. He may be 30-ish at best. And Greg Roman's name has been mentioned. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but that's a working. I'm probably Charlie Weiss Jr., who's at Ole Miss. His name's been mentioned. It's kind of your obligatory list, right, guys? I mean, you probably see those names several places.
Well, I like that Dan Enos hired at Arkansas because I think he's an OC. Yep. I don't think you're going to see him on any lists like that. And I think he's I like it.
It's a good hire. Yeah, last week we didn't really know what was going on yet, but that was a good hire for them. I think that one's going to pacify all concerns.
It's going to be good for KJ to get some new concepts coming in, get in the classroom, and see how fast he picks it up. And I really do believe it'll be good for him, yeah.
Bill, we've got, I think, what was my countdown at? 23 days until college baseball begins. And I know you're a big college baseball guy. Do some of the talk on your morning show on WNSR. Is this going to be a bounce-back year for Vanderbilt? You're expecting big things out of them?
Yeah, they were down. Pitching overall, hitting overall last year. They weren't a very good hitting team. Enrique Bradford, their leadoff guy, probably the best leadoff guy in baseball, college baseball. But after that, they weren't doing much. I don't know that I think they're as good as LSU with Paul Skeens and Tommy Tanks, those additions to that roster. And Tennessee, I think, just reloading. They lost a ton of players, but they're reloading. Got to remember, Tennessee's got their 3 starting pitchers back. Their 3 ace pitchers, out of 4. One of them got drafted high. They're in good shape. Matter of fact, Chase Golander, some are saying at Tennessee, is the best pitcher they've seen in about 5, 6, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
talking about him as a potential overall first pick, or Dylan Cruz out of LSU. Either way, you know it's going to be a great year of SEC baseball, as it always is.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.